Welcome back. Welcome back to the Detroit is Different podcast studios. And in studios, I have a young brother that was actually part of another project. And just ear hustling as I'm recording what was happening for this special project, I'm like, this is an interesting guy, just the way that he responds to things. And you may know him as someone that's offering the access to books inside of the Detroit community, Rosedale Park to be exact. So to be young and opening a bookstore, you're already saying to yourself, what is happening here? So many other things that go into this. Jelani, how are you doing today?
I'm living well. How are you?
All is good, man. All is good.
That's
So,
good.
as I say, I was looking forward to this just because the way you responded to the other questions, I'm like, this is a different type of thinker.
Hmm.
So, we're going to start with the basic Detroit is different, the roots.
Okay.
How many generations deep are you and your family to Detroit?
On my mother's side, up to my grandmother and grandfather.
Okay.
They both moved to Detroit to go to Wayne State.
Interesting. Where did they move from?
My grandmother came from Virginia, and my grandfather came from Alabama.
Okay. Alabama, a lot of folks here from Alabama. Virginia, not so much.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then on dad's side.
Yep. They're a little bit interesting. I think it's 4 generations.
Okay.
But their origin is a little different. And I can kind of say that it's the patriarch of my father's side got into some legal trouble with some white people in terms of some violence against the women in his family and the retribution that he enacted himself. So he doesn't. The oral history about his past wasn't shared too much in regards to he lived the rest of his life with his head on a swivel and just like, I don't want this to circulate too much in terms of like, because he was wanted for the rest of his life.
And as you speak of that, it was a lot of that happening. We even think of James Boggs and his story leaving Alabama, Coleman Young. You know, when you read his autobiography, his story leaving Alabama, and so many others, Alabama, Mississippi, Florida, a lot of places when we look at the Jim Crow southern states of what was happening, and some may argue in a lot of ways still happening now, but just a lot different. So hence even like names and families start changing. So you were like, you know, I'm serious, like people would change religions and everything. So you would be at like a Methodist church, then you come up here and you in a Baptist church.
Yeah.
You know, and you got to change up the look, got to change up the feel. And a lot was left behind from a lot of those horrors that were atrocities and fighting the terrorism that a lot of our people dealt with back then.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a story I think a lot more common than you think.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, keeping your head on the swivel is always, you know, I mean, you black man back in that day, it could happen. You know what I'm saying? So what side of town? Let's go to your dad's side as they've been here longer. What side of town do you recognize, or did they share with you and say, okay, this is where they came, or this was like kind of my family's neighborhood?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're rooted on the west side. Not necessarily Rosedale Park, but a little just east of it.
Mm-hmm.
Is that Old Redford? Is that what they call that?
Okay, I was thinking Old Redford was like on further west.
No, it's like there's Redford and then there's an Old Redford.
Yes.
Eve.
So like Old Redford is kind of like, you know, Old Redford Theater near where Artist Village is and all of that, the library in Old Redford.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of feels like an extension of Brightmoor in certain ways. And I'm not offending anyone from either of those communities because the culture is different, but some of the houses in the architecture feel looks like that.
So they were over closer by like the Mammoth Building. How about that? Yeah.
Okay. All right. So yeah, that definitely is east. Yeah, Mammoth is a whole vibe.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Do you remember that neighborhood as a kid and that's where they were?
No. They so actually the house that I grew up in is a house that my father bought from his mother.
Okay.
So by that point, we had recentered ourselves in Rosedale Park for several generations.
Okay.
But my father wasn't born in that house.
Okay.
They moved there. He was like 7.
All right. So you remember your furthest back memories where your bookstore is now in Rosedale Park.
Yep.
All right. So now I guess let's settle in this whole Rosedale Park reality. Your parents, what are they doing as you're coming up? What's their path?
Yep. So Mama has always been a teacher.
What did she teach?
Yep. She's preschool.
Okay.
Yep.
Little homies.
Yeah.
Okay.
The toddling homies on the block.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. So that means like, was she your teacher when you were in preschool?
No. When I was in preschool, I actually went to daycare. My daycare was run by Mrs. Stowers, Cynthia Stowers. And actually, like as I grew up, I met other people who were like, I went to daycare there. So if you recognize the name Stowers for any reason, it probably would be that my aunt ran a daycare over actually by the Mammoth Building.
Okay, interesting.
Yep.
So you were in that neighborhood, not necessarily how your dad was, but still possibly around the same age. Okay, all right.
And so my Baba he still is. He's an electrician.
Okay.
And I say was because when I was 12, he went to film school. And he has sort of 2 careers in which he'll do the electrician work, depending on, I guess, the seasons. And he'll do some film work as well.
Okay. All right. So in that Rosedale Park, what's your earliest memories of that community? As that's definitely been brought up on some Detroit is Difference before. Definitely remember Charlie Beckham's interview and him talking about having a home over there and connecting with the people in the community, and other interviews too. A lot of Rosedale Park is a fixture when we think of, especially like established Black folks in a community, larger homes. As a kid, I remember. Shout out Judge Thomas. Her son, they lived over in Rosedale Park, and I just really remember that because spending the night playing Super Nintendo. But it's a long time ago. What was Rosedale Park like for you growing up?
Yeah. If I think about myself specifically in Rosedale Park, I think about we have a 100-block yard sale. And it used to be dope when I was a kid. I don't remember the more recent incarnations being as epic. But yeah, imagine like the whole neighborhood, every single person is out selling something. And it could be their household treasures you're not going to see. The Game Boy was out then, so you could get some exclusive Game Boy games for a good price. Clothes, kids selling lemonade and snow cones and doing all kinds of stuff. And yeah, it was like Halloween. You could just like go up and down. That was the day. It's just going up and down the block and seeing the treasure that you could discover. That's an early memory. I played baseball and soccer in Rosedale Park.
Okay. Where were you playing baseball and where were you playing soccer?
Soccer was North Rosedale Park. And baseball was Stopel Park. And there were several fields. So one of them was also in North Rosedale Park. So I spent a good amount of time in that North Rosedale Park community house area.
Okay. And I'm guessing growing up in a community like that, many of your friends are from that neighborhood and community?
Yeah, I used to play outside a lot. A lot of those neighbors have moved. There are a couple families that have stayed, but the kids that I played with outside moved as I got older. And especially I think when I went to high school, a lot of that aspect of the neighborhood, the people my age, I didn't see too much anymore.
Mm. What do you think was like the big transition and shift of people moving from the neighborhood? And as they moved from the neighborhood, what did you see change?
Um, I don't know if I could chalk it down to one thing, especially because, at the age that I was, if I'm 12 years old, the reason why people are moving isn't what's communicated.
Hmm.
Uh, Especially if it's not your family.
Yeah.
You're just like, hey, we're moving. And they were renting in the first place.
Hmm.
Those particular people. Um, and then as I got older, I remember soccer was really popular among young kids. Um, the older you got, the less soccer teams there were. To the point where if I was in the 8th grade playing soccer, I think it was like 2 teams.
Wow.
So it was just like every week was a scrimmage if you
Mm.
you playing the same people every time. Um, so those kinds of platforms, I remember seeing it was always a perpetual amount of young children,
Hmm.
more than there are high school age.
So as you grew older, little ones would be around, but nobody close to your age.
There's still little ones.
Hmm.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So now you've already kind of begun a little bit of the preschool journey, Miss Stowers, your auntie. Shout out to her. And where are you going for middle? Where do you go for high school?
Yep. I'll start with kindergarten.
Hmm.
Kindergarten, I went to Nsoma Institute.
Okay. Shout out Baba Malik Yakini.
Yep.
What was your experience there in Sorma?
Yeah, I think it was especially cool. So that was my first concept of school.
And which building? Because in
Mm.
Sorma starts. I mean the story, and you can check the archives of Detroit is different. Kind of like I want to say it starts in the Considine, and then it has different locations over time. Which in Sorma did you go to?
Yep. So I can, number one, get this right. I started in 2005, 2006, and I went over until 2008.
Okay.
2005, I really want to say I was in Oak Park.
The Oak Park, yeah, I was gonna say the Oak Park School.
And then for 2nd grade, I remember there being another building, but I don't remember exactly what city it was or what place it was. And then that sounded like it was pretty short term because I remember there being another building right after that that I transitioned from. I can talk a little bit about
What that
Nsoma.
experience was.
Yeah. Number one principle is that Africa is a place to be respected, admired, and looked at with admiration. Um, Number two, this is a thing that I didn't appreciate really at the time, but environmental advocacy as a normal practice. So they were like, we were in kindergarten and we were learning about when you put food in the dirt and then it becomes fertilizer. What's that called?
Composting.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Composting. It was like trash. There are some things that are trash, some things that are recycling. These things are composting. Composting is super dope.
Mhm.
And then there was an introduction every week. It was like every Friday they were showing us like a new kind of fruit. It was like, this is an avocado. This is a mango. This is like different kinds of things that you might not necessarily see counted among your apples, oranges, and cherries that Pac-Man can eat.
Okay. Interesting. Also an interesting tie that you tie a lot of the fruit produce to Pac-Man. Yes.
Yeah, Pac-Man don't eat mangoes and avocados.
No. Pac-Man does not. Ghost may. But yeah, also in what you're talking about, shout out to Mama Hanifa, Food Warrior program that has been teaching that for years and now transitioning to Mama Erin that's in that space. So much love to a lot of this continuing on, though the institution of Nsoma is no longer there. The teachings and a lot of the programming and ideas and ideology still permeates throughout not just Metro Detroit, but over and beyond, as so many students such as yourself have touched different places.
Yeah. It's yeah. So the concept of Pan-Africanism was central. We were taught to kind of prioritize communicating with the African world. So the languages that were centered were French and Swahili.
Okay. Jambo.
Yep. Who Jumbo, brother?
Okay. C Jambo.
Oh, my bad. Yep.
Yes, C.
C Jumbo.
Yes. Or Habari Gani, which means what's the news, if you ever.
Nzuri Sanan. Weweje.
Okay. All right. Now we getting way past my Swahili. I need Rosetta Stone here.
Yeah.
Or Baba Nabechi. I'm a Aisha Shule kid. So, okay. So this is like foundational and things you remember. Who were some of the instructors you remember?
Yep. Two names that stand out right now are Mama Sharon and Baba O.
Okay.
There were more, but those names pop out first.
Mm.
And then I can just remember the experience of African dance.
Okay.
That was like a central showcase, a thing that we would do, thing that I was not good at.
Okay.
I could count on like, all right, Thursdays coming around, I'm getting in trouble because I'm
hilarious. Hilarious.
But yeah, it was a lot of. As I think more on it, it was super intentional. Even the way that they like made us like stand. The fact that like we had a uniform, but you could wear a dashiki any day you want. Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, standing at Angalia, as they would say. It's like a standing in attention, more so, especially for young boys and the energy. So, so in that journey from there, that's kindergarten. Where are you at for middle high school?
Yep. I went to, it was called Detroit Urban at the time. It became Detroit Christian Schools of Excellence. And now I don't know if it still exists. But it was the elementary school my mother went to when she was a kid.
Oh, interesting.
We had the same principal. We had the same English teacher.
Wow. So did the teacher say, your mama used to do the same stuff?
No, they didn't say that.
Oh.
My mom was, I was a bit more mischievous.
Okay.
I took after my father in terms of behavior. She was a very quiet.
Yes. So it was like, your mama never did this.
Yeah.
It was more that. Okay.
Yep.
All right. And then for high school?
Yep. For high school, I started at Renaissance. And then I was, Renaissance on the first day, they tell you 50% of y'all not coming.
The Phoenix, yes.
And so I was on the
you were a part of the 50% that did not last. Okay.
Yep.
So after Renaissance, where do you finish?
CMA.
Okay, communications. So it's still kind of in that Rosedale Park footprint.
Yep.
All right, what was CMA like for you?
Man, CMA. I can appreciate what was happening now. CMA was a disciplinary experience for me. The reason that I failed out of Renaissance obviously has nothing to do with my internal intelligence. Nobody fails out of Renaissance because they're not intelligent. Fail out of Renaissance because Renaissance presents you with an immense amount of freedom that you have never experienced before.
Okay. Explain and break that down.
Yep. So in middle school, you got one teacher. And you get dropped off, and that's your teacher unless it splits between math and the humanities and whatever, and maybe this. But at Renaissance, it's almost kind of collegiate in which every single student has their own personalized schedule, and nobody really knows where you're supposed to be or how to keep track of you. And at my middle school, let's say my graduating class was like 30, maybe. Renaissance, the incoming freshman might be like 500.
Okay.
And so it's a whole lot of anonymity, a lot of freedom, and then a lot of pockets of expression.
Break that down. What's that? What do you mean by that?
You get to join more clubs.
Okay.
Get to join more clubs. There are more cliques. There's a higher degree of socializing that can distract you from your studies.
Okay.
That I hadn't been presented with.
Okay. So it was like, okay, everything. And you're not necessarily saying like the formal clubs, you're also saying just the peer groups and just everything that exists.
Yep. I didn't have a phone before then, so I now have a phone.
Oh man.
It's it was a lot of
what was the app of the day at that time? This is how you can I'm an old man. But what was the app of the day of the time when you were freshman at Renaissance? Where were people rushing back to get to?
Yeah. Instagram was
just starting.
Yep.
Yes. Where you were early. I was like one of the first people with Instagram. I was like, I'm gonna get this one.
Now, Baba was on Instagram before me.
Ain't that something? All right.
He's an early tech adopter.
So you were like, was it like the Vine era? Or?
Yeah, I got on Vine. Probably really the big thing that was kicking off was Snapchat. I think we were
Snapchat.
Snapchat was the high school app.
Okay.
That and YouTube and just in general. GroupMe, actually, maybe we used to Kik and Snapchat. Those are the middle school, early high school.
So that's apps. Your presence of mind was on Kik,
and
Snapchat, and not arithmetic.
Definitely not
in English.
Yeah.
And what's not?
Yep. I was a good class student.
Okay.
Not a good homework student.
I feel that. I feel that.
Passed my tests.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, day-to-day carrying of things and organization just fell to the wayside.
Yes.
But no, went to CMA, graduated from CMA.
And at CMA, what was your track? What did you focus on there?
So at the time I went to CMA, they were a college prep school, really.
Mm-hmm.
So we were engineering test scores, basically. So it was like there wasn't a whole lot of deviation from like, oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Like, at Renaissance, you're like, I can take a business class or I can take band. Not a whole lot of that. Mm. You had a math class, that was your math class, and then you had SAT math. You had an English class and you had SAT English. And then it was very, we are dedicating this to college prep. And the ongoing thesis of that, like CMA is in a new building now. The understanding, I guess, that the principal was giving us is that the better we do on these test scores, the more resources the school can be afforded at the higher level.
Okay.
And so CMA is in a new building. A part of that is the proof that CMA is a magnet school. And
so
of that.
Okay, you didn't have any like radio or television or journalism or PR or any of those courses there?
So when I was a senior, I had journalism.
Okay. How did you take to that?
Yeah, I think you actually probably before this Pages Bookshop thing, if you Googled me, some of my articles from journalism would pop up. So if you go to page 3 of Google now.
Hilarious. you done got 2 more pages now.
Yeah.
Okay. Googleable. I remember when that became a verb.
Yeah.
Okay. So all right, I'm with it.
Yep. That was cool. I was one of the first people to report on what became the Me Too movement.
Interesting.
It was called #MeAt14 at the time. And I saw that it was trending. And I interviewed a young woman from each of the classes in my school. So I interviewed a 14-year-old. Hey, what is your like now at 14? How are you responding to the Me at 14 movement? How does that take to you? 15, 16, 17. And then in the senior year, there actually was a girl who had actually experienced sexual violence.
Wow. And you reported on that at that age?
Mm-hmm.
How did you, all right, it's tough for any journalist to report on something like that. But then like when you think of like that young age and like what was your preparation of like knowing that, okay, I want to honor this story I want to be respectable to who shares this story with me, and not just put too much pressure on yourself. How did you even approach something like that?
Yeah. So the Me at 14 movement is distinct from the Me Too movement in that Me at 14 was highlighting the innocence of young women.
Hmm.
It was not even necessarily that everybody would hashtag Me at 14 was a victim.
Hmm.
It was just kind of showcasing this is what a 14-year-old is. This is what this means when you say you're talking about a 14-year-old girl. So it was number one, that point. Number two, so the girl in my class, I was a senior at the time, and she was a senior. She had shared it with the class. It was a part of, we had been prompted to all go up in front of the class and kind of say something that it was like some college prep question, like, when have you overcome adversity? And that was the adversity she had overcome.
Wow.
So we all knew. But I went to the teacher when I had this idea for a story. I was like, what do you think about this story? Yeah, because I just didn't know how to approach it. And so she was like, I'm going to talk to her for you. She talked to her and she came. She was like, I'd love to do that story. That's exactly what I want. I want to share my story.
What was the response from writing something like that?
Yeah. I don't remember it being anything super celebrated. It was being published, like, because we were taking a journalism class, we weren't necessarily writing for the school paper. And sometimes it would just be pushed to, like, Crane would print our papers. It would just be pushed. And so, number one, just having your story in the paper is not a default result of the class. So it was an honor in that aspect. But in terms of the overall response to the article and things like that, I think it was a little bit more muted. But yeah, it was a great honor just to be published. That was cool.
All right, so that's happening there. At that point, are you seeing yourself as like, okay, I may be able to, look into journalism, or was it one of those things like, I'm just doing this for school?
Yeah, I don't think I ever considered journalism.
Okay, it was the class.
It was that we only had two options for electives. It was journalism or yearbook. I just chose journalism.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So from there, now from CMA, with a little bit of Renaissance experience, where's your focus? Leaving high school, what are you thinking?
Yep, I can talk a little bit more about CMA. So even I talked about Pac-Man. My passion was I wanted to make video games.
Interesting. When did it hit you as like, I want to make video? Or let's let's even start more origin, because I'm an old man. And I never really was into gaming as much as a lot of my friends, but I'm Nintendo 1 guy. What's the first system you get? What's the first game where you start making this connection that it's like, okay, gaming's a little bit more than just a hobby? And right now it's a sport and everything. But
yeah,
when did video games become like, okay, I'm a little bit more interested in this? So what's the first system you get? What's the first game you got?
Yep. So Baba was a gamer.
Oh, okay.
And so it was kind of a shared experience of like, he had everything. At the time I was growing up, it was PlayStation 2, Xbox, and GameCube.
Okay, so all three. Okay.
And then I had an uncle, his name is Otis Gilchrist, who passed.
Rest in peace.
He got me the first game that would be mine. Everything else was like,
Your
Baba had it.
Yeah.
So that was Pac-Man World 2. It's actually being remade, like it's coming out this Friday. So that was that experience. And then other than that, it's kind of a.
And 1 second, let me say this too. For your age to like Pac-Man, because Pac-Man is like, that's like OG gaming.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So what was it about Pac-Man that's like, talk about 2-bit entertainment? No offense to Pac-Man. I'm a big Tetris guy myself personally.
Yeah.
But what is it about Pac-Man that just like, I'd assume with your age, you would have been into like so many better graphics and like even just starting with PlayStation 2. Like, I don't know. I can't even think about like what was Resident Evils, Grand Theft Autos, the start of what's the one everybody Call of Duty. Like you have all these options, but Pac-Man was something where you landed.
Yeah, I think so. I'm 5 at the time. So a Resident Evil and a Call of Duty is something that is probably more like
Way beyond you.
it's gonna scare me more than it.
Yeah.
And then there's an aspect of like I had Pac-Man on the PlayStation, I had Pac-Man on like the plug and play.
Mm.
So there's an accessibility to it, and there's a sort of aspect of video games were more like toys then than they are now, in which you can get a game and you can be playing it forever because you never really beat it. Pac-Man just get faster, and then you want to get better than that. Versus, now again, you can beat a game, and you beaten it. Maybe you want to replay it later. So there was just a kind of, it was always around, and it was accessible because I wasn't necessarily getting every single game that came out.
Okay.
It was Christmas and a birthday, I would get a game.
There you go.
So that was.
So even though your dad had his system, you couldn't just go in there and play anytime you wanted.
Wasn't good.
Okay, that did not happen.
Yeah.
So as time goes on, from Pac-Man, when do you start playing like more? Like when does it hit you? Like I want to create some of these.
Yeah. It was the juxtaposition between playing video games and playing with toys. Because playing with toys is like I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
I can create anything. I wanted the creative freedom, but I liked the experience of creating video games. And so it wasn't even necessarily a passion driven by economics or career. It was, I wanted to expand my creativity into this medium.
Okay.
Kind of a motivation.
All right. So what age does it hit you where you say, this is what I want to do? Is this like 10, 12, 14?
Yeah, it's probably pretty young. Maybe 10-ish. I had a lot of things that I was thinking about. Because there was a point where I wanted to be a doctor, I wanted to be a surgeon. Yeah, so I don't know. It was just when you're a kid, you got options,
Many
you weighing them,
things.
and you taking the opportunity to take advantage of your education to explore those options.
Okay.
And I was in robotics club, kind of sowed the foundations of coding. And I say that really to say, because we're talking about college, an interesting opportunity that came from going to CMA in particular is, so I got kicked out of Renaissance for having a low GPA. And at CMA, probably everywhere, I don't know, but at CMA, they had a thing called the President's Club for people with a GPA of 3.0 or over. So I was like, I want that President's Club because they would leave class and they would go have some exclusive meetings or something. So I worked really hard. 10th grade, I got a 4.2 GPA. And I made up for like my 1.2 at Renaissance. And it equaled out to 3.0 at some point. I think it took me a whole sophomore year, so I'm a junior year now. And the first President's Club meeting, Principals Club, whatever, meeting that I go to is friends with Microsoft. And it's different companies that I think Microsoft was there, and it was companies that subcontracted with Microsoft. And they were just sharing opportunities for STEM fields with the kids. So I connect with one of them who's a software firm with Microsoft. And I was saying, like, I'm learning how to code. And I had just learned JavaScript at the time. I was like, this is what I can do. And he was like, all right, I'm interested in helping you build your skills further. So that evolved into a 2-year internship in which I really polished my coding skills. And at the time, I'm also in basic law. I guess that was another option that they had. They had more than I'm giving them credit for. But not media arts. It was
okay.
It was, yeah, they can talk about it.
Well, it connected you to some business law, and it connected you definitely to an internship that I'm guessing from that internship, you see a little bit into the window of like video game design somehow.
Yeah, I see really number one, that video game design is not necessarily how I want to build my career.
Mhm.
But I really enjoyed coding specifically. I liked that skill. And I enjoyed the law. I enjoyed going to debate and then working with lawyers. We had a alternative justice track where like kids who were their first offense would come to us, and then we would actually give them their sentence in lieu of what they should have gotten. And so we had the ability to give them a certain amount of community service
Mm.
in exchange of, like, it'd be like shoplifters or
Yeah.
so they nothing went on their record. And so that was my experience. I was like, this is cool. So I was split between technology and law, and I hadn't made the decision yet. And I learned that philosophy is useful for both.
Mhm.
That as long as you build up the logical skills, you can go into tech later. And you already
Okay.
have the hard skills. You've proven with your portfolio that you can do this thing. You don't necessarily need C++ 101. You just need a higher level engineering build up. And then law philosophers actually do the best on the LSATs, if that's a path you want to go. So I kind of deferred my life decision, majored in philosophy, and with the aspiration of, like, I'm definitely going to go to some sort of grad school.
Interesting.
And then, so circling around to the back, so I graduate in 2018.
Mhm.
And the big word swirling around us is gentrification.
And this is from high school you're graduating, or
Yep,
college?
it's
Graduate from high
high
school
school.
in 18.
Mhm.
And also, see, now we get a little bit deeper into this, as I'm a philosophy nerd too, just to unpack it. So now your interview makes a little bit more sense to me. I do want to let people know that logic in philosophy can be taught in two ways. Actually, it can be taught in mathematics,
Mhm.
and it can be taught in theory with words and analysis. And sometimes they intersect between both.
Mhm.
But logic is it's interesting to unpack more into like the metaphysics of it and all these, surrealism and all of these things. It's interesting, but philosophy is for sure one of those academic topics that you can dive deep into.
Yeah.
You know. Okay, so gentrification 2018, that definitely is. I mean, it's still a discussion here now, but and it'll be prevalent
Yeah.
and what it means. So that's a topic that's coming about, and you're hearing into this, also knowing your Nsoma roots. Uh, I can only imagine the thought process of a young man thinking of philosophy in that time about that.
Mhm. Yeah, it was in particular, the going narrative was that Detroit is about to change a lot.
Mhm.
Um and the way that I kind of felt that gentrification is that right now there are a lot of gaps in belonging in Detroit. And you can still fit. However, there's going to be a time in which there won't be enough room for everybody. Some people are going to be pushed out. And I didn't want to not be given a shot at living here.
Mm.
And so I chose to go to Wayne State specifically because I wanted to be in close proximity to Detroit. I didn't want to leave the community and then come back after 4 years and try to find my way in a place where I don't know anybody,
Mhm.
so I wanted to network as much as possible and connect and build roots in Detroit. So I went to Wayne State on purpose for that reason. And so that's what brings me to Wayne State. That's what brings me to philosophy.
Okay. And what was your Wayne State experience like? And also, what was it like when you tell your parents, your friends, everyone that philosophy is what I'm gonna major in?
Yep, definitely. Uh, the philosophy thing is easy. The question is always, what are you gonna do with that?
Mhm.
Um, And then my knee-jerk question would be, I'm planning to go to law school afterwards.
Okay.
And that was not untrue.
Mhm.
But I hadn't fully decided. But it was for the most part, that was my intention.
Okay. So you begin this philosophy journey, and what are the who are you taking to? Like, what theories? What are you learning? How is that impacting how you see the world as you're beginning to learn more about philosophy itself?
Yep. So my first semester, the most challenging paper that I had to read and respond to is Peter Singer's. If you look up Peter Singer, you'll like know this paper. But I can summarize it. It's basically the standard relationship with consumerism is immoral. And he says that basically he starts with this super famous metaphor that if you're walking down the street, let's say you got new gym shoes, they cost $500. And you see a child drowning in the pond. If you take off your shoes, it'll be too late. If you get into the water, you'll mess up your shoes, but you'll save the kid. It is wrong to not save that child. You're like
I love these types of discussions and thought process as well.
And so what he's saying here is that every time you spend money, you have the opportunity to give. You have the opportunity, especially there's a level when we're talking about the global world where the dollar is so strong that you can give in a way that you don't even feel it, but you are saving lives. You're like this is the data I can show you. Without the resources, these people will die. And every time you spend money that isn't helping them, like that responsibility is really on your hands. That was the most challenging paper to be presented with as a freshman. And it does kind of sit in the back of my mind in terms of how I engage with things. So yeah, I think that's one of them. And then my experience with Wayne State is probably the first one is like finding belonging. I would say if you want to graduate from college, you should know that you cannot do it alone. College is an institution with resources and with people that you need to invest in and will invest in you in return. If you try to do college by yourself, if you try to treat college the way that you treated high school and like, I can study, I can go to my classes, I can do this, especially as a first generation student, the likelihood of you dropping out is high. The likelihood of you dropping out is high is because you have all of these examples of people who have not died. They didn't go to college and they're fine. They raised you. You're proud of yourself. Why am I doing this? Number two, if you don't get access to these resources, you're either paying out of pocket and you're looking at your return on investment, or you aren't being supported academically. You aren't navigating the university. You have to definitely find belonging. And it will support you in return. And there's an aspect about the institution of university that is impersonable. And there's an aspect of it in which every part of it is actually run by people. And I can tell you that when COVID hit, I didn't transition into online well, and I should have lost my scholarship. But because I had built relationships with the staff and the faculty of Wayne State University, not even just my teachers, but the faculty, the people who sign off on dispersing funds and waiving fees, who knew me, it was like, this is a person who's been showing up. They've been reaching out. They're a peer mentor. They're giving back to the community. They're building community. I can vouch for this person. We want Jelani Stowers to be a Wayne State alumni. We can push this through. Had that not happened, I wouldn't graduate it.
That's deep.
Yeah.
That's deep. A lot to unpack there. Do you stay on the first question I have is the philosophy track? Do you stay on the philosophy track?
I do.
So you take classes in all forms of philosophy at that point. So, whether it be, Freudian thoughts or Nietzsche and things like that. Where do you find, where has it strengthened your view of life itself now that you just kind of and a lot this is my interpretation of a lot of philosophy. So it's like Plato's theories. Like if you have time and deep enough thought to like pull these things out, some of it definitely ties two and two together. And also I think a lot of the philosophers definitely presented from a university are there's a lot of information in there that I definitely think is Kemetic or taken from Al-Kebalan, or these are definitely African thoughts at one point in time that are transversed into other more Western philosophy and things like that. But even a lot of the Eastern philosophy of like, shit, Sun Tzu, Art of War. You know what I'm saying? Like, where has learning because you like unpack thoughts in philosophy? How has that helped you just see the world now, like as you embraced more learning more in philosophy?
Yeah, I think a bachelor's in philosophy is kind of like going to a mixer and eating hors d'oeuvres, in which if you don't go in and follow up, you've had a small taste of a lot of different things. And it's a little like I was presented with a whole lot of different contradictory information in a short amount of time. And it was sort of kind of just basically the philosophy that Wayne State gave me was logic. It was like, this is how you can validify information that is given to you and you can verify it. This is our logical system. And then I was presented with a lot of ethics and metaphysics around that and told to test it against this logical system. So basically a philosophy paper is like, here's this dude that everybody thinks is a genius. Prove them wrong.
Yeah.
Is basically the task. And it's unique compared to other kinds of work in which it's like, here's this idea. Can you rephrase this to me? Can you tell me that you've repeated it and that you understand it? And not necessarily has what the information we've given you, is this true? Is this applicable to you? Can you provide an example in which this isn't going to be useful?
Which brings me to one of the most deep philosophical questions I often bring up to most of my friends that are deep into it. It's like, what is truth and what is a lie in the first place?
Yeah.
And I know a person listening, like, what do you mean? What is truth and what is a lie?
Yeah. So my definition of truth, I'll give you my definition of knowledge. Because knowledge has truth in it. Knowledge is a true, justifiable belief that is not accidentally produced. So if you want to get to truth, you have to intentionally produce a justifiable belief. And whether or not that truth holds up to the test of time, it just has to do with you allowing your truth to get battered. And then a lie is there's all different kinds of a lie is one particular kind of bullshit. And it is an intentionally created set of information designed to inspire a belief. That is a lie. There's sometimes it's just a mistake. You've just rephrased misinformation. Like, if you say something that people believe is true. That like Trump died of cancer.
The sky is blue.
Yeah. The sky is blue.
The sky is blue is a classic philosophical discussion always.
Yeah.
Because it's like, what color is the sky?
Yeah. The sky is. So yeah, you can say something that is false that you truly believe is true.
Yeah.
That you haven't lied. And then there are also aspects of there are times when everything that you say is true, but you are producing a false belief. And I guess right now people kind of just call that gaslighting.
Well, yeah, I mean, juice and gaslighting, I look at it like that's like in the family of deceit. And then also, you know, especially with the last election, I was in a forum. Detroit People's Platform had me there. A whole discussion about the difference between disinformation, misinformation, and malinformation, and how they're all interconnected. And it's interesting because in that these devices definitely proliferate any forms of that. Hence, like having a philosophy of finding what is knowledge. I like that term more so than truth. Knowledge that's applicable when you need it. That's very key because there's so much information coming at us today, more so than ever, of just what's being produced. I mean, all the content I put out. Somebody was responding to one of my posts the other day, and I'm like, yeah, it's 90 seconds. It was about Pan-Africanism. And he was like, no, but it's this, and this. And I was like, well, within 90 seconds, I have to give a synopsis. But from that synopsis, he's like, well, if you're not introducing the aspect of sovereignty inside of it, then the synopsis itself is like that bullshit. And I'm like, I don't necessarily agree with that, but make a post about it. That's why I like putting up content. You know what I'm saying? Let's have the theories all kind of align, because I think that that's where you're looking to reach the more heightened understanding of people connecting. And it's so interesting, as much information that comes out, most of us aren't unpacking and taking time to like sit with anything. And that's what has a lot of information become disinformation and misinformation and malinformation.
Yeah. There is a way of knowing that I think is more cultural than we give it credit for. And I think philosophers have always known this about themselves, that we are on the back foot of our way of knowing, and that it is we find it more admirable but less effective. And so, for example, Plato and Socrates actually hated democracy. They thought it was probably like the worst thing ever, because they believed that there are intelligent people who are going to, they call them doctors. There are doctors who are going to give you some bitter medicine, and there are candy salesmen who are going to give you some great tasting poison. And if you leave it up to a democracy, the candy salesman will spank the doctor every single time. Not going to agree with their opinion on democracy, because alternative forms have proven to not even pay lip service and just straight up just be corrupt if you don't include people in decision making. But there is definitely some truth in you got to do it in the Mary Poppins style of putting a spoonful of sugar at least, rather than really like going in and getting into a policy conversation about for 3 hours on somebody. You just be like, you're racist. Boom. I'm the good candidate. That's the racist candidate. That's my platform. And then you have other stuff underneath that you do want to do, but that isn't necessarily going to be your tagline. My tagline isn't necessarily going to be,
I'm not a racist.
not necessarily I'm not a racist, but your tagline isn't necessarily going to be your deep systemic effects on the policy. It's going to be the emotional aspects of it. That philosophy, frankly, disrespects. It doesn't acknowledge people as emotional beings, and it doesn't dedicate a lot of its thought to that, and it thinks of our emotions as a flaw within us.
Yeah,
something to reject and fight down, and not something to accept. Which is, yeah, there are a lot of different cultural ways to share knowledge that is underutilized in the classical Western philosophy sense, just because it is deemed evil and immoral.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. And I mean, hence stoicism, like that's that whole arc. And then this is where it becomes tough because man is involved in all of these things. So, and when I say man, like human beings are involved. So, human beings to act as if um these systems are built and this is the structure and this is the logic and that's what's going to happen and this is going to happen because in logic it makes the most sense. Yeah, that sounds good on paper, but if humans are involved, then humans will be making human decisions. Even as we see with shout out to Tawana Honeycomb Petty, the artificial intelligence, because it's still a designer of what that artificial intelligence. Hence the classic philosophical discussion. You know, if the AI vehicle has to choose between hitting the senior citizen or the child, where's the what will end up happening? You know, like that was the philosophical discussion. The reality of the suit that was won here is that, yeah, it's the facial recognition seems to be black faces are all the same, you know? So,
Yeah, definitely. Equitable design is important.
but this all still goes back into the thought process of like people are involved, people have bias, people are emotional, people have prejudices, people have um, all of the realities that create the challenges that already exist. And hence, I think even the whole concept of like, okay, the machine is going to be a more balanced and unbiased mechanism versus people, which I would call in to argue that's I don't even really agree with that. But
yeah, I guess we really want to get into a specific philosopher who talked about this. We can say David Hume. Uh, the belief in ethical theory up to that point was that to be a good person is to be a rational person, and that irrational people cause harm. That is the root cause of harm in the world, is irrationality. People, crazy people. And David Hume said that logic doesn't have any particular aims. 2 + 2 = 4, and that's fine, but 4 has no care about whether or not you eat or starve. Logic can't not do that. Logic is a tool designed to give you what you want. And what you want predates any sort of thinking. It's just a way of like, how can I get what I want? And so when we're thinking about our technologies, they're the same thing. The phone, this is not a neutral device. It's not just like, oh yeah, let's just like let people talk to each other. This is a business. A business owns this. A business created the technology and the infrastructure that it works on. A different business is going to own the social media platforms, and they all have their own agendas. And their agendas, for the most part, boil down to selling you more stuff.
Well, either selling you, it's two things now, I think. It's selling you more stuff and collecting data
to sell you
to, yeah, exactly. To basically create the narratives of who you can sell more stuff to.
Yeah. So
you know, or the people that want to create things to profit from whatever condition you're in, like by grouping together
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, there's an aspect of, we can fact check this. Social media will keep track of if you deleted a selfie before posting it,
Mm-hmm.
and it will use that data to push makeup brands to you because, oh, you deleted a selfie and then you posted another selfie. You're conscious about what you look like.
Mm-hmm.
We got a product for that. It's not even necessarily just what you posted, the hashtags you use. They're getting really deep into, and they're using the artificial intelligence to predict that to the point where the programmers don't even actually know what it is doing and how particularly it works. They just said, collect as much data as possible, perform some experiments, and then figure out which experiments produce the most dollars at the end of it. And they collected the data of, oh, this person posted a selfie. That was a selfie. They deleted the selfie. They posted another selfie. If people do that chain of actions and then we push them a makeup ad, they will buy more makeup. And that is pretty much the ongoing track of technology right now. AI in particular. So there are a couple kinds of AIs. When I talk about AI right now, I'm talking about large language models. I'm talking about specifically things like ChatGPT, Gemini, and then whatever else is out.
The Chinese one that sometimes people use. What's that? Forgetting. Surfshark or something like that.
But when I talk about those, that is a particular kind of technology that hasn't found its actual place yet. There are people who have profited off of their use of AI, but the ongoing people who develop AI and built the infrastructure that makes it work, those people haven't made their money back. They haven't. It's not even close. We haven't. So that it has to be sustainable at every single point in order for it to really find its place. And it hasn't yet. So we don't really know. We don't. But I can predict at some point it will connect to selling you more stuff.
Most definitely.
Figuring out a way to sell you more stuff. They may attach affiliate links to it. They may attach high license fees that you don't even see. Like with stuff like Afterpay and Klarna, it's an interesting loan to you, but the people who accept it actually pay 5% for allowing that to be a purchase. DoorDash is kind of the same thing where like each restaurant is paying to be offered on DoorDash.
Yeah.
It may look like that. It has to attach itself to consumerism in some way. And it hasn't yet, and it's getting close to the point now where it's getting so expensive and so unsustainable but it's also become a national security threat in the same way that rockets were in the 60s, where China has one. Probably Russia is getting one, and North Korea is going to get one. And it's been made very apparent by their collaboration with the federal government that even for example, IBM has a large language model that only high level executive, like the Department of Defense has their own ChatGPT that's for the Department of Defense. All the data comes from the Department of Defense. It's only for them. So AI will definitely always exist. The level of accessibility that it has, probably we're at the last wave of that.
Yeah, I think that, it's already, the models are becoming more, it's costing more to get access to it. And that also is going to be, variations of it. So now as we talk, I know this is a complete shift and pivot, but it's in the ballpark, I think, as we talk about offerings and where does community stand. Pages, got a bookstore. What was the catalyst for this? How did that come about?
Yeah. So I can talk So I grew up in Rosedale Park. Pages is
Mhm.
in Rosedale Park. Right after Pages open, that next upcoming Small Business Saturday, I go to Pages.
Hmm.
Pages is where I buy The Art of War. It's where I buy my Intro to C++.
Mhm.
It's where I buy I'm buying books.
Yeah.
I'm buying the books that then begin to inform the rest of my career. I don't really know it at the time. I'm just buying books 'cause,
You're just buying books out of interest.
yeah.
When do you also with it, because that's a very interesting one in philosophy, especially like business philosophy. I think like 80s, early 90s, but Art of War and like 48 Laws of Power, Guns, Germs, and Steel, like these more pop culture philosophy books. Why did you read Art of War?
Honestly, the answer is I was into anime and martial arts at the time, and somebody quoted Art of War, and I was like, I heard of that.
Mhm.
I went and got it. And then as I was reading it, I understood a bit more about how this could be applied.
Mhm.
And I thought of business in a fundamentally different way than I do now. I thought of business as first a competitive art. I thought that competition was the number one kind of motivation of why businesses do things.
Mhm.
And I think of that less now. Right now, I think of business as primarily community building and base building more than it is tearing down anybody who's competing against you.
Mhm.
I think of it just as
How you engage with your business.
yeah, just developing a great product
Okay.
and a great service and serving people that you can depend on.
Okay.
More so than I think of like, oh man, Apple versus Google, let's go.
Mhm.
It's about service.
Mhm.
But at the time I was very much competition minded.
Okay.
And I wanted to win
Mhm.
competition.
So Pages is this space,
Mhm.
and what's the catalyst for you to
Yep.
end up in the running of purchasing?
So I read the article about how Pages is closing.
Mhm.
I was like, man, I just went to Pages. So like the whole room was full. So I have couple things. I'm attached to this business as a member of the community.
Mhm.
I have experiences with what this business means, not only in my personal experience, but I have a collective experience of like people love this
Okay.
and seeing the conversation ripple out.
Mhm.
And then 3, I have my own kind of aspirations for community building and things that I want to see in the city that I think coincides with Pages.
Mm.
So I just go in and ask, is this for sale? What is the process towards initiating that sale? Then I talked to Jeremiah Steen, who is the founder of the Steen Foundation,
Mhm.
who then goes and talks to Crystal and Jason Larsosa, who are the heads of the Black marriage movement.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely Detroit is different family. Shout out to Jason and Crystal.
Yep. And so we all kind of get together. And the Hershey Kisses, the
Yeah, their
Larsosas, their
daughters.
children.
Yeah, their daughters.
We all have a conversation about what it looks like to bring this space back.
Mhm.
And then how might it look different? What are we keeping? And so we had that conversation with Susan. And Susan agrees. And then all of this happens. So Pages announces that it's closing in the beginning of January.
Mhm.
It closes, and we close the sale at the end of February.
Wow.
So it was all super turnaround. Like I didn't know how to run a bookshop, so I had to go to the Winter Institute by the American Booksellers Association. That luckily happened to coincide with this season.
Mm.
So I can go and I can get to meet the industry and kind of like understand a little bit. Janet Jones of Source Booksellers is there, and Janet is like, I am going to like if you ever need help from me, let me know and I'll be there.
Janet and Allison are also Detroit is different family. Shout out to both of them always. That's beautiful.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely it's not competition.
Mhm.
Um it was we're all serving the community in a different way as a part of an ecosystem.
True.
I feel like kind of collectively the 4 independent booksellers equal a Barnes and Noble. We all have our different niches and types of things that we offer. And so, it all kind of turns around, and then we just get to promoting, trying to get the bookshop to as good a place as possible. Because there was a legal shift, there's more work to do than we initially anticipate, because it's kind of like it was open before and we saw the numbers and the numbers looked like it was all right. And so we can just turn the key and open it up and it'll work. And no, it didn't work like that.
Nah, it never works like that.
Yeah. So definitely there was aspects of, because it's a new legal entity, we had to create all new relationships. And they were, even though the business had been tested, the entity had not been tested.
Yeah.
And so there was it's definitely, well, we're turning on the engine.
Yeah, it's like franchising, or like like technically the new quarterback gets in, even with the same skill set, you gotta develop those relationships. In business, it's a lot of relationships that play very key roles. And it's sometimes not even like so grandiose, like, I know them, so I'm looking out for them. It could just be something as simple as like, for me and the printer that I work with, I've been buying prints for them for now, I don't know, 12, 15 years, something like that. So I can call, and it's not like they're gonna move mountains or whatever, but I've been able to make some calls where it's like, all right, we'll make sure that gets in the press today. Or if it's delayed, I'll get that phone call instead of just like the email that may end up in my spam or whatever. Like some small things like that seem small, but enough of those victories come along the way, and now your business is functioning in a different arc.
Yep.
Yeah. Stuff like that, especially I think with books, like shipments and relationships with the publicist and authors coming in for signing, and when stuff runs out, the relationships with which authors you want to run co-assignment with, and who's going to come in and put in a stand and stuff like all of that stuff starts coming into play.
Yep.
So what has it been like for you in this space? As I came, I don't know if you all saw like my post. I came in, I was like, I'm gonna buy some books for the little homies on the block. He was like, is that a program? I was like, nah, it's just really
the little homies.
Literally the little homies on my block.
Yeah.
So that was cool. And they actually want to get some more books. So now I can I'll keep that in mind, is, keep stacking the support. What is it? What has it been like working? Just retail itself is also a different world of, staying focused. It's like you need to be the right amount of busy, but not too busy. But what has the experience been like for you?
Yeah, the experience has been overwhelmingly welcoming. We were anticipating that. How about this? A couple days ago, I kind of woke up and I was like, man, I'm really actually not the right person for the job.
Interesting.
And then I kind of came out of that and I was like, nobody was the right person for the job, because the way that it came about, no one was prepared. You don't necessarily announce that your business is closing and then close the sale of the business in 2 months. That's not natural. And so even just on a fundraising level, that isn't natural. And so me understanding that, especially going into opening day, feeling underqualified, feeling like I'm not necessarily just saving a brand, but the brand is representative of a certain quality of service that I know I haven't built the infrastructure to really live up to. It's not, it has that potential still. It just takes time to ramp up.
To build those relationships.
And when you have high expectations and things are even a little bit different, there's bitterness. And so I was gripping myself to prepare for like, bro, like Pages used to be like not like this. Like you used to have more books. They used to have different books. They used to but no, ultimately it was just like, man, like we're so glad that Pages is here. How can we help you?
Yeah.
What can we do to get to work together on this? There's and so it's been an overwhelming amount of that. And there's also been a lot of new people who are specifically invested in me and my arc of a story, who are like, man, we're so happy that this is here. And that you are here. So yeah, it's definitely been a great amount of support, and I'm excited to have more experience now. It's almost been a year since January.
It's beautiful.
And so to have more experience and to know the community in a different and deeper level.
And I love the philosopher's take. It's like, you first say I'm not right, but then you have to. I know me. I always tell people, like, let's look at it in the macro, in the micro, like, because sometimes, especially when it comes to things like that, we can look at things so much from our own lens before we step back, and you'll never truly empathize with any person where you're actually like, as that person. But sometimes stepping back and looking from that person, now you have a better barometer of expectation, success, where you're at in the arc. I think business, or just really, business is one of those things, but anything in life, like, it takes time building those flows, building those new relationships, it happens. And where that becomes, cause yeah, it's like, what's the right person, quote unquote, but who's the right person for right now?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that happens to be you.
Yeah. Happens to be us.
Yes, sir. So also in this, you're an avid reader. You share that in your other interview. How much are you still reading? Like, do you, so two questions. How much are you still reading? That's one. And then second, what are some of the things that have been surprising about, like, seeing some people's book taste and like the titles that people are gravitating to?
Yeah. So I read less now than I used to.
Mm-hmm.
And I read differently because I used to read just because I enjoyed reading, and I was reading for ultimately like a selfish kind of place. So like, how can I apply this?
Yeah.
How does this applicable to my life? And now I read from a lens of who all will enjoy this. What kind of situation is this for? And I have to think about the broader communal moment and then get to know individual people on a personal basis. Like, as you become a regular, I know you, and then I'll buy books for you. Might necessarily say that, but it'll be on the shelf. And if you come in, I'll be like, hey, that's here. It's not a special order. If somebody else buys it and you don't come, I'll sell it. I'll order another one.
Yeah.
But yeah. So it's a different aspect. And I used to finish books. I'm definitely like a 2-chapter kind of guy, because I can get a feel for a book in general, like the way that it's written and the concept of it in about 2 chapters. And every page that I read above that 2-chapter mark cuts into the amount of information I can work with and towards strengthening the shelf as a whole. So I am personally less of a reader at the moment.
Wow.
But I've also brought into my horizons, I had never read a mystery thriller before.
Okay. Are you a mystery thriller fan now?
I mean, it kind of sucks because I only read 2 chapters and
hilarious. So you like, who did it? I don't know.
I had no idea how it happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, I appreciate how it was going. I would have finished it had I did it.
Yeah.
I'm definitely relating with self-help in a different way. So like when I was a younger person, I was more into it. And then as I got older, a lot of self-help is the same message, but it's branded towards different audiences.
I agree.
And so once I got my book that was for me, I was not too interested in
the other stuff.
Flavors.
Yes.
But yeah, I appreciate like, they've never written this book for this audience before. This is special.
Yeah.
Right now, the let them theory is that The Let Them theory is the subtle art of not giving a fuck. It's the Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. It is the Stoic philosophy.
Yes.
For the modern person right now. And I would also say, for the modern woman. So it's for women. Men and women can appreciate a lot of the same things, but it's
just packaging. It's kind of like it's so funny. When I was a kid and I'd be watching like, Martin on TV or something, and my dad's like, oh well, this is that episode, because like he's watched so much more TV than me. Where it's like, how did he know it was gonna be the It's a Wonderful Life episode? Because every television show does a version of It's a Wonderful Life. It's just now you got Martin, Tommy, Gina, and Pam instead of my dad actually watching. I don't even know the actor guy that was in It's a Wonderful Life originally, but that guy, you know what I'm saying? So it's like those arcs of certain things, just, they're gonna stand there. Actually, it's so interesting, like when I tell people like, and this is definitely, you can tell I've veg out on stuff like this, but it's like, okay, it's so many ties between the story of Star Wars and the Bible. You know what I'm saying? Like, but a lot of stories from the Bible come up in many other stories because it's like, okay, this is a good premise. Now it's gonna be packaged different, but then the more you think about it, it's like, oh, that's what that is.
Yeah. There's just there's some points of universal wisdom that maybe just need to be taken out of the universe and put into a very practical life experience that you can relate to.
And like most things, like music almost, like sometimes it connects more through like a different band or artist or, performer or whatever, hence like, you may like, the Isley Brothers for the Love of You, and somebody else may like Whitney Houston's version for the Love of You. Like, but it's the same song essentially, just feels different.
Yep.
All right. So with that being said, we get into a close of this. How do people connect with the bookstore? Where should they go?
Yep. So the bookstore is on the bookstore. The bookstore is on 19560 Grand River Avenue. You can catch us on social media on any platform. We are Pages on the Ave. You can call us at 313-473-7342. And you can also email hello at pagesbk, like Burger King. They don't pay me.
Hilarious.
Shop.com. Hello at pagesbkshop.com.
All right. Now, classic Detroit is different questions. And I'm going to add something philosophy at the end.
Okay.
But very first car, your make and model, year you got it.
Subaru Impreza 2022. And I got it in 2022.
Okay. All right. Where's the first place you went when you got it?
First place? I don't remember.
Okay.
I went home. I was more interested in it from a practical standpoint because I was spending so much. I was still in college. I was spending so much money on Ubers that I was just happy to
have a ride.
Yeah, I wasn't even like, oh man, now I can go here. I was just like, man, I'm saving so much.
Hilarious.
But at the time, gas was like $6-7. So how much money was I really saving?
Oh man.
So yeah. So that definitely.
Okay. You're the DJ at the end of the fireworks. Woodward and Jefferson. You get to play 2 songs. What songs you playing?
Dang, that's a tough question. You know what? I'm putting on the Tamia Hustle.
Okay. Detroiters gonna love that.
On the love on Detroit for that. And then I'm gonna do As by Stevie Wonder. I feel like I'm gonna
love that too.
Do a little something.
Okay.
I'm romantic.
I'm with your playlist. I'm with it. DJ Jelani. All right. Last question. Then I got the philosophy one. Now I got a good one for the philosophy one.
Okay.
You have to rename Woodward after one Detroiter. Who would it be and why?
That's a huge honor. let's throw some respect on Baba Jamon Jordan.
Okay.
Specifically because Woodward is the dream of the dude's name was Woodward after Detroit burned down for like one of the first times it burned down. He wanted to build this kind of connector point. That was a circuit system. So Grand Circus is called that because of the circuit system. And Woodward was his dream avenue. He wanted that to connect up and down. And Baba Jamon, specifically for me, connected me with a point of specific Detroit history. That being Black Bottom, the construction of the 375 freeway. I didn't know up until meeting Baba Jamon and learning about that point of Detroit history. And so he connected me through time to some true, like, a pattern that I was like, oh man, it changed my worldview for how I think about policy and infrastructure and community engagement and how powerful we have been up here. So yeah, I'm gonna honor Baba Jamon.
Okay, definitely. And more Nsoma family, I think, even than Detroit is different family as well. So here's the philosophy question. Came in with it anyway. What is the philosophy of a ghost in Pac-Man?
Of a ghost in the philosophy of a ghost? If I'm gonna take it particularly seriously, I would say that the maze is some sort of burial ground. And Pac-Man is stealing treasure out of the burial ground. And they are just defending their legacy. Let's say Pac-Man is an archaeologist. And they're just guardian spirits who don't necessarily want their land to be invaded upon and their treasures to be taken out. So yeah, I would say if I were to imagine what the ghosts are up to.
I'm with it. I never expected that one. Said I got something for you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And this ain't gonna be the last time, man, but this was fun. And we're gonna be showing some more love to the bookstore too. As always, Detroit is different. Peace.
Peace.